salt.
Yeah, people are approaching Srila Prabhupada and his books and his speaking from the material level. That's why they're editing everything and trying to make it politically correct and, to suit
Because
this time.
But what they've succeeded in doing is making it impossible for schools to use Prabhupada's books in the classroom.
Yeah,
You buy a bunch of new books and somebody goes to the bookstore and buys a secondhand one to save money. He comes back and it doesn't have the same story in it.
yeah,
So they have committed actually a crime against the very purpose Prabhupada had of spelling Krishna K-R-S-N-A. That was
Yes.
all through Pradumna advising Prabhupada from Harvard. But why would Harvard want to use Prabhupada's books, even if it is K-R-S-N-A? Why would they want to use Prabhupada's books if each book is different?
Right. Very good point. Yes, each book is different, right? And every new generation is pumping out their own changes.
Yeah. That's another problem, isn't it?
Yes.
That after 500 years, who knows? Maybe it'll look more like Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse. Who knows?
Yeah, actually, I was looking at a book. Abhimanyu Prabhu in Canada showed me some books of this walking Swami, Bhakti Marg Swami. And it was just like a cartoon book, I was like, what's going on? Why are they publishing such nonsense? It was not BBTI publishing it, but these types of nonsense books. So I was like, whoa,
Was the content nonsense also?
Yeah, the content was nonsense. The pictures was nonsense. It's just like, it was published in Ukraine. So I was like, whoa, I was like,
watch out for the Ukraine.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is what's going on. I was like, they wasted a lot of their energy and time and money publishing these nonsense books.
If Ukraine is publishing nonsense books, maybe Russia will invade them.
Yeah, next time I'll try to get some pictures so we can just take a look at it.
It's interesting, Bhakti Marg, because if it's a book about walking around, that's the meaning of Marg, isn't it?
Yeah. Marg means path, I think. Marg means path. Path.
Yeah, so yes. Bhakti Marg is walking on a path. It's a great opportunity. I don't know what, I think I may have seen, was this book from a long time ago?
No, not a long time ago. It's a hardcover book with him traveling and petting ducks and feeding, talking to people.
It's all in cartoon?
Yeah, in cartoons. Yeah, like, animated pictures of himself.
So it's a graphic novel?
Yeah, graphic novel. Like, maybe 1-2 sentences, that's it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Why do you want Bhakti Marg Swami to be your guru? I like the way he feeds the ducks.
Yeah. Abhimanyu Prabhu.
Obviously, he's a bona fide spiritual master. You should have seen the look in the eye of those ducks.
Yeah. Actually, Bobby Hebert preached to him and got him to, be a devotee. So that was nice of him.
Now we got to be nice to him.
No. Bobby Hebert does not like him so much. Anyways, let's get going. So we're live. Narayan Prabhu, welcome to our Thursday night Zoom meeting. We got Mahaprabhu, Narayan Prabhu, Rupa Manjari from Los Angeles, Mohit from India. And
you're humble and eternal servant.
Jai.
If I sound ferocious, be ferocious and meet me halfway.
Jai.
If I'm wrong, defeat me.
Jai.
If you can.
If you can.
Hare Krishna.
You have to defeat me with the right reason, the right logic, and the right energy. If you can defeat me with all of those, then I'm defeated. And guess what? When I'm defeated, I will say, Jai Prabhu, I join you in what you said.
Hare Krishna. Yes, actually, you made a very good point. Prabhupada was talking about convincing the others. You should be able to convince the others with logic and reasoning. So I will pull that conversation up where Prabhupada is having a conversation to some devotees.
That's wonderful.
Let's see. He was talking about two. So, I'll share. I'll share with the devotees here how Prabhupada is, what Prabhupada is actually saying here. So can everyone see here? We're going to be reading.
Yeah.
Let's start.
Okay. Is Mataji going to do the reading, I hope?
Yes. Let me find the context. How are we going to start this?
Okay. Now,
Okay,
Rupa
well-
Majori wants information how to get more people.
Well,
notified.
that's later. We'll discuss that later. We'll discuss that later.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, here
I
we go.
just brought it up because there was an empty spot in the conversation.
Here we go. Thank you, Narayan Prabhu. Right here, Prabhu. Rupa, can we start here? Let me highlight it.
But how can I convince you because you are saying that you cannot? Prabhupada, no. Convince means you have to convince me with your reasoning power or presentation. That is not a very difficult thing. Two lawyers are fighting in the court. They are convincing. Now the judgment is there. So that fighting means for convincing, not only in law court, in everywhere. In assembly, in parliament, in Senate House. That is a regular thing. Now the majority is accepting. Now this shall be, what is that?
Okay, so now Narayan Prabhu, you were discussing about if people want to challenge us, let them come on the meeting and convince us, like Prabhupada is saying,
Yeah.
with the reasoning power and presentation.
Yes, I make strong statements. If someone comes on and says, you're wrong, I'll say, thank you. How am I wrong? What is wrong? Let's come to a right siddhanta, the right conclusion,
Jai.
the right bhakti siddhanta. With the grace of Saraswati.
Yeah, this is the beauty of Krishna consciousness, where devotees should be able to have, face-to-face discussions, and because everything is laid out in Prabhupada's books. So what is the difficulty, Like
What is the
Prabhupada said.
difficulty? The difficulty is they don't have Istagosti.
Yeah.
Istagosti is the exact format where someone's got a hot idea in his head. He comes in and blasts it out towards everybody, and then other people deal with that.
Yeah.
And either he convinces them or they convince him.
Right.
In an honest atmosphere, when the jiva is presenting the strong argument, it means that when the jiva's argument is defeated, then the jiva rejoices because he has a higher understanding now.
Yeah, my experience here in Sacramento is we were never given sufficient education on Ishtagoshti or talking with devotees and discussion. So these things were lacking from the beginning. We weren't trained up properly. And we can say that was deliberate, because if we were, then, we would have started out on a very, stable foundation. Okay. And
Yes.
from what I understand, the Ishtagoshti meetings only took place just a few years. Probably after 1970, there were probably less and less Ishtagoshtis as time went by, isn't it?
Bhavananda used to have Istagoshtis in 1971 in the New York Temple on Henry Street, but it was not quite as serious. It was there and people discussed, but mostly because it was a large temple with like 70 devotees in it, because the building was huge. It was dealing with sociological things and some emotional things, which is fine. But the whole thing was Kanka, who was first married to Swarup and then got married to somebody else, was there. And she was running around the building is 4 stories high. So she was running around from floor to floor singing, it's just a ghosty time, it's just a ghosty time. Come on and join the fun. It's just a ghosty time. So that's the way the mood of Istagosi was in New York City in 1971.
Yeah. So does Istagosti happen in New Dwarka or no?
No.
No, good God, no.
Oh,
I
wow.
mean, who would be there? There's only like 3 devotees in the temple. Everybody hides in their apartment
Everyone hides in the.
on the pretext of not getting COVID.
And Savas runs everything, so there's no point or question of having an Istagosi.
Runs
Right.
everything means what? I mean, he's like the autocratic ruler or something.
No, he's very, very nice. But as Rupa says, he runs everything. It means that there's no room for discussion because it's run more like a business. You don't need a big Istagosti for a business,
Well, if it's run like a business, then it's not really Krishna consciousness if the devotees are not involved, right? The devotee has to express.
No, it's not like that. There's no question of it being like that.
What do you mean, like that? What are you saying?
Well, it's no question of it being run as a devotee participant entity. Like now, I was thinking, I said if he runs it like a business, but there's plenty of businesses which start out each week for the 10 people sitting down and having a meeting to sort things out,
Right.
Well, that doesn't happen at Eudorka.
I see. Okay. Well,
That's why Bobby Hebert asked me if I thought Vaisheshika should be giving initiation.
you probably told them no one should be giving initiation but Srila Prabhupada.
I responded that I know Vaisheshika, I love him as a friend and godbrother, but I wouldn't even take my cat or dog to be initiated by him.
Cat or dog. That's a genuine reply that he should hear. I'll send it to him. All right.
Doggy initiation.
Huh?
Doggy side initiation, bro.
Mohit Prabhu, your voice is not clear. What's going on?
Haribol, it's clear now.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think in this material world now, cats and dogs will also have initiations, bro.
All right. Actually, I was having a conversation with Bashu Ghosh Prabhu, and I'll share the screen so you can see.
Oh, you were? When?
Just today,
Oh, how wonderful. Does he read any of the things I sent?
Oh, no, I didn't ask him that, but I just sent him some quotes. And what did he say?
Let's go over that. That's very important.
Yeah, I sent him this thing here. Oh, hold on, let me see here. Let me share my screen. I sent him this quote where about Ananda Sarup Prabhu. He's saying, I was an ISKCON guru and initiated 20 devotees. However, I was unable to bring them to the transcendental platform. Why? Because I myself had not reached that supreme destination, nor did Srila Prabhupada ever directly order me to be a guru. Thus, I considered my guruship a failure. That doesn't mean I am not still progressing. Prabhupada corrected me and continues to guide me. However, perfection will be achieved by me when Prabhupada says so, not me subjectively or anyone else. So I sent this thing to Bashu Ghosh, and then there was a follow-up comment by Ananda Sarup Prabhu. I asked him another question. Were you approved by ISKCON GBC to be a Diksha Guru? And Ananda Sarup Prabhu says, yes. In retrospect, it was all a political farce, not spiritual at all. Along the way, because somehow I had little sincerity, Krishna took me out of the ISKCON scene and put me to work on my anarthas. I suffered like a stray dog for years and years, but Krishna never left me and consistently helped me work on my defects. So this is the two pictures I sent to Bashu Ghosh Prabhu about the ISKCON that which he's participating in, approving gurus and this and that. So Bashu Ghosh Prabhu sent a reply to me. This is a letter.
Did you have a verbal communication or written one?
Just a texting on WhatsApp.
Oh, okay.
So Bashu Ghosh Prabhu sent a quote by Srila Prabhupada written to Janardana, April 26, 1968. So a person who is liberated Acharya and Guru cannot commit any mistakes, but there are persons who are less qualified or not liberated, but still act as Guru and Acharya by strictly following the disciplic succession. See it?
Yes.
Let me read it again. A person who is liberated Acharya and Guru cannot commit any mistake, but there are persons who are less qualified or not liberated, but still can act as Guru and Acharya by strictly following the disciplic succession.
Okay, and in the 5th chapter of the Nectar of Instruction, that is not recommended.
Yes, it is not recommended.
You see, this whole thing is, the way I'm looking at it, with the Prabhupada Prabhupada's kirtans on recording and lectures on recording being the guru of ISKCON, and that if you want this pure devotee guru, put on the headsets. That's a pure devotee guru. You want to put on some other headsets? It's not a pure devotee guru, it's somebody else. So the pure devotee guru idea, then what about the people who want to go out and be gurus? Go out and be a guru, who cares? If you chant Hare Krishna, you may go back to Godhead somewhere, but you're like a stray sheep in the pack of wolves. In other words, I don't care. Before, I was very worried people were becoming guru. If the whole GBC and the gurus go floating off somewhere out of ISKCON temple territory, then ISKCON temples can incorporate individually. The ISKCON temples can have the elected GBC, and Prabhupada will be on the recording center. If somebody walks in the door and says, I want the guru, they said, here, put on the headset. Oh, I want a living guru. He's alive. Don't worry about it. He reasons all who say Vaishnavas say, when thou art living still and sound, put on the headsets.
Do you want to finish reading what he wrote?
Oh, and then he commented about Ananda Sarup's personal guruship when he was a guru. Ananda Sarup Prabhu didn't mention that he ran away with a young girl, the daughter of one of his disciples. She left him a few months later. It was 25 years ago. He is no one to talk about Vedic culture and religion. What does he know? A sannyasi who ran away with a young girl? Then he uses, let's put it this way. He has a lot of, no, what is it? Let's put it this way. He has a lot to be humble about. So,
oh, there you go.
So
you see everybody's trying to cover their asses.
Yeah. So this is the difficulty with when you're dealing with people like Bashu Ghosh Prabhu, a nice person, but this, there's a vast amount of quotes that Prabhupada is like here, it's saying, there are persons who are less qualified or not liberated, but still can act as guru and acharya by strictly following the disciplic succession. I mean, this basically means that the Kanishta and Madhya Madhukari can be a guru, but the disciples must...
That is stated in the Nectar of Instruction in the 5th chapter, clearly.
Yeah.
It's also qualified.
Yes.
So Prabhupada is saying it because it's true.
Jai.
But it's not what we're up to.
Yeah. When the Uttama Adhikari is here and present in sound vibration, what's the reason for a less than qualified or not liberated person?
Is the Uttama Adhikari here?
Yeah. So there's no
You see,
reason
here-
for less qualified or not liberated persons to.
Yes. So the question is, where is the Uttama Adhikari right now?
In his sound vibration, where he always is.
Yes. And look how carefully everybody has taken to avoid that sound vibration.
Yes.
In his Vani, in his books, in his writings, Prabhu.
In his videos, in his lectures, in the memories of his devotees.
Yes.
Well, not the memories of devotees, that's second class. We want Prabhupada directly.
Chai, okay.
If you get Prabhupada directly, when you chant, there is no, well, I mean, if you listen to these memories, I mean, I know all the people involved usually. I know what happened, and they're
Yeah.
busy modifying it to sound good, you know?
Hmm.
So these memories are valuable, as memories are always valuable. But as far as accuracy is concerned, why on earth do you think that accuracy is going to be a factor?
Well, that raises a question. Just like yesterday, we saw a video of Govinda Dasi explaining how Srila Prabhupada was envisioning the Krishna consciousness movement being spread in every town and village across the globe. So Srila Prabhupada had a picture of the globe on his desk, and he was saying, Brahmananda, you go here. So, you go here. But that actually happened. So that memory of Srila Prabhupada. And,
Well, with Govinda Dasi, her memories are going to be good ones, because
that's what I'm saying. So
she's not speaking about Prabhupada. She's speaking what happened with Prabhupada.
yes.
All these memories, it's all about Prabhupada.
Mm-hmm.
You can get valuable information, valuable insights, but they're buried under blah, 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 you know?
Right.
This is what I was arguing with, not arguing with, but I was presenting an argument to Bobby Hebel that he didn't argue against.
It's not Hebel, it's Hebert.
Yeah, Hebert, right. Hebel is a different person.
Yes. So the transcendental sound vibration coming from the pure devotee is the most important thing. Now, the condition.
Actually, it's not important at all. But
Okay.
without doing that, you're not going to go back to Godhead.
So that basically means if you don't want to go back to Godhead, then it's not required.
If you don't want to go back to Godhead, become a GBC guru.
Yeah, GVC Guru.
You see, the whole point is the differences between the kinetic Uttama Adhikari presence, which nobody ever paid much attention to. See, Prabhupada came into a room as the Uttama Adhikari. Oh, they saw him smiling. They saw how people are surrounding him. You saw that he's sitting on the Vyasasana, and then they put on garlands, and then they say, Jai Prabhupada.
Right.
But they're not seeing Prabhupada, they're seeing the external manifestation of Prabhupada. Of course, the external manifestation of Prabhupada is also Prabhupada. But to get into the core, you said, here comes a ceremony. I want to hear his kata. I want to hear about Krishna from the pure devotees. But no, everybody was making themselves comfortable, wanting to Prabhupada to think about them.
I
You
see.
see, so they got the blessing of the external blessing from Prabhupada. But they didn't, you have to have someone like Govinda Dasi who got the internal connection with Prabhupada. Who
Right.
else did like that? What's her name? The cook, she did.
Yamuna.
Yamuna Dasi. She got that. There's quite a few. There's a number of people, many of them women, who got it.
Right. Right. Yeah, many of them women, right.
They heard Prabhupada, like Govinda Dasi, asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, or they called him Swami or Swamiji. We're calling you Swamiji, but that seems, I'm using the word generic. What could we call you? And Rupa Manjari, you know the answer, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead, explain what happened in that perfectly transcendental conversation.
Well, Govinda Dasi approached Srila Prabhupada and said, Srila Prabhupada, it seems like Swamiji is sort of a generic title for you. Are there any other titles that we should call you? A different way that we should address you? And he said, well, you can call me Guru Dev or Guru Maharaj or Srila Prabhupada. And Govinda Dasi was flummoxed and said, but Prabhupada, we need just one name. Which of those three do you want us to call you? And Prabhupada said, Srila Prabhupada is very nice.
That may be how it went, or it may be that she selected it. But in any event,
No, he selected it. He selected it.
are you sure? Because
I'm
I've heard the
positive.
story, but a little differently. But anyhow, that's not the point. The point I'm making is Govinda Dasi is a person who on the Kanista Adhikari platform connected with Srila Prabhupada as spiritual master, not as a beautiful person and will he give me a piece of his samosa. You see?
Can you repeat that point again, Narayan Prabhu?
Oh, well, I'm saying that Govinda Dasi was able to understand, interacted with Prabhupada in such a way that she wasn't caught up in the nice stuff and, will I get prasadam from Prabhupada, or maybe he'll give me a garland, Prabhupada. She wanted to know the answer to a core question, and she had the mind for it. That's where spiritual life begins. You have to have the mind to be able to ask the question.
Yes, Prabhupada says that. Yes.
But if you can't ask the question, then you're just a groupie. That's why Prabhupada didn't like so many photographs taken of him.
Yeah, that's so many.
Because otherwise he becomes another Mick Jagger, another Bob Dylan, you know?
Yeah, I mean, having so many pictures of the pure devotee Acharya, that also, in a way, minimizes his position, It's his position is very sacred.
But we are so minimized in terms of our intelligence, our ability to do anything, and our ability to even restrain our senses, that the more pictures we have, the more we love Prabhupada.
Yeah. Yeah, every picture is unique, and a whole story can be written.
No, but I understand. You know what Prabhupada said? He said that actually, you should have only one picture.
Jai.
The picture of him sitting next to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And we look at that, then we look at Prabhupada, and we look at all the pictures of people, Gurudas and Bhargava and people like that took. We look at it and say, no way! I'm not going to limit myself to that one severe-looking picture. I want pictures to show Prabhupada in mid-flight. I want to show pictures of Prabhupada looking surprised. I want all the details, because we are oriented not to pure philosophy or sobriety. We are addicted to, well, sort of like the rock and roll culture. Here's a beautiful person, is like a rock and roll star. He's on the stage, he jumps into contortions, he falls into the audience. I mean, that's what we're looking for in Prabhupada. And I have to confess, I'm not a rock and roll star follower, but that's what I'm also looking at for Prabhupada. I love to see gorgeous pictures of Prabhupada. And if Prabhupada said don't, I would say, how can I not, But we can understand what the principle is. Another good example is Himavati, Hamsaduda's wife. When they were maybe in Montreal or some place like that.
Yes, yeah.
One of those places.
Yeah.
She would go into his room and ask him questions. Oh yeah, there was one guy, Nanda Kishore, who was married to Fulcher, Joyce Fulcher. Who's Joy Fulcher?
Janaki?
Janaki, yeah.
Oh
Janava.
yeah. Janava,
Janava,
yeah.
yeah, Janava.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, he kept coming out of the kitchen and begging Prabhupada, Himavati is constantly talking to us and constantly telling us what to do and constantly doing all of this stuff. What can we do? Prabhupada said, let's ask her to stop. He comes back 20 minutes later and she stopped for 10 minutes. Now she's doing it again. And I said, what can we finally do? And Prabhupada looked at him and smiled and said, let her move. But then Himavati came into Prabhupada's quarters and said, Srila Prabhupada, something is occurring to me. I want to understand. Prabhupada said, yes. But he said, you're coming from Krishna Loka. You're a pure devotee from Krishna Loka. We understand that. Prabhupada didn't talk to him about that. And yet you're using a typewriter. You're working on a desk and you're sitting on a rug. How is it possible that you, a pure devotee, can touch these material things and use them in Krishna's service while you're using material things like that? Said, isn't it incompatible?
Yes. Yeah.
And Prabhupada said, explain. He said, when I use the typewriter to type Krishna Katha, books, etc., letters, it is the typewriter and the dictaphone, etc., they become Krishnaized. And the table is Krishnaized. If you had two eyes to see it, you'll see it no longer looks like a material table. That's why people wanted artifacts from Srila Prabhupada, because they were Krishnaized. It's like Prabhupada's energy entered into the amulet or entered into the hair, entered into the partly used stick of sandalwood, and by his touch, it became Krishnaized, and the rug. So that's why we explained that to Himavati. Okay. So that's me. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to establish, along with your argument with Govindadasi, that Himavati asked intelligent questions that did not depend on Prabhupada being cute or lovable or photographable or anything like that. She approached him almost aggressively, almost skeptically, almost negatively, asking, what is this and what is the meaning to what you're doing? And he explained it very nicely.
Right.
So that's how you can relate to the spiritual master, which is different than many people. That way are different than the Prabhupada memories. Of course, it depends who's doing the memory.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, what's his name? Siddhanta said he liked my memories about the best of all the ones that were given. Maybe he said that to encourage me, but I know what he's thinking because I was talking about Prabhupada very directly. I was not trying to tell a story about Prabhupada to make me look good, which is what most people do. They deal with Prabhupada in terms of them looking good as a result. And that's what the whole guru thing is about. Oh, I represent Prabhupada to make me look good. Otherwise, how are you supposed to be a guru if you don't look good, right?
Right.
So the whole point is that's useless. It doesn't help. So if they want to do it, Prabhupada is in the center. He's in the heart of his ISKCON on his recordings. When the GBC are pushed away and we have the elected GBC again, then when people, supposing there's 100 ISKCON temples with Prabhupada at the center, and people only listen to recorded through headphones, and then they get up and they have kirtan, it sounds just like Prabhupada, with all the nuances, because they're hearing it all on the tape. And then you get into it, if you get, quite frankly, I'm saying, chant like Prabhupada by hearing Prabhupada, yes, But when you hear Prabhupada and you get absorbed into Prabhupada, there's a chance that you can offer a variation, which is within Prabhupada's energy, if you're doing kirtan. But you can't artificially do it. That variation has to come out of the algorithmic structure that Prabhupada was working with. And he was trying to do things far beyond what the devotees were willing to do,
Right.
because they were all listening to Vishnu Chan.
Right. Okay, so I'd like to read this Srimad Bhagavatam verse. So let me share the screen. This kind of goes into the details of Srila Prabhupada using things for Krishna service, anything that he uses that we were discussing. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 4, verse 17. 2, 4, 17. Okay. Okay, Rupert, would you like to read or should I read?
Sure.
Yeah, let Rupa read.
Okay, sure.
Translation. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the all-auspicious Lord Sri Krishna again and again, because the great learned sages, the great performers of charity, the great workers of distinction, the great philosophers and mystics, the great chanters of the Vedic hymns, and the great followers of Vedic principles cannot achieve any fruitful result without dedication of such great qualities to the service of the Lord. Purport. Advancement of learning, a charitable disposition, political, social, or religious leadership of human society, philosophical speculations, the practice of the yoga system, expertise in the Vedic rituals, and all similar high qualities in man serve one in the attainment of perfection only when they are employed in the service of the Lord. Without such dovetailing, all such qualities become sources of trouble for people in general. Everything can be utilized either for one's own sense gratification or in the service of one other than oneself. There are two kinds of self-interest also, namely personal selfishness and extended selfishness. But there is no qualitative difference between personal and extended selfishness. Theft for personal interest or for the family interest is of the same quality, namely criminal. A thief pleading not guilty because of committing theft, not for personal interest, but for the interest of society or country, has never been excused by the established law of any country. People in general have no knowledge that the self-interest of a living being attains perfection only when such an interest coincides with the interest of the Lord. For example, what is the interest of maintaining body and soul together? One earns money for maintenance of the body, personal or social, but unless there is God consciousness, unless the body is being properly maintained to realize one's relation with God, all good efforts to maintain body and soul together are similar to the attempts of the animals to maintain body and soul together. The purpose of maintaining the human body is different from that of the animals. Similarly, advancement of learning, economic development, philosophical research, study in the Vedic literature,
Or even
the execution of pious activities like charity, opening of hospitals, and the distribution of food grains should be done in relation with the Lord. The aim of all such acts and endeavors must be the pleasure of the Lord and not the satisfaction of any other identity, individual or collective. In the Bhagavad Gita, the same principle is confirmed where it is said that whatever we may give in charity and whatever we may observe in austerity must be given over to the Lord or be done on his account only. The expert leaders of a godless human civilization cannot bring about a fruitful result in all their different attempts at educational advancement or economic development unless they are God conscious. And to become God conscious, one has to hear about the all auspicious Lord as he is described in literature like the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam.
Jai. Excellent reading, Rupa.
Heavy.
Ah, wow. He summarizes the entire Krishna consciousness in this one purport, huh? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Who
Hare
can do
Krishna.
that? Mahaprabhu, you think you can do that?
Nobody.
Ah.
Where is that passage from?
This is from Srimad Bhagavatam 2:4. What is this? 17.
Wow.
Huh? This basically talks about the ISKCON movement. It's saying if it's done for individual, where is it? Individual or collective? Huh?
It's still sense gratification.
Yeah, right here. This is what I was gonna. The aim of all such activities and endeavors must be the pleasure of the Lord, and not for the satisfaction of any other identity, individual or collective. Huh? So,
Yes.
if we are collectively not trying to, if we're collectively trying to, please the gurus or the GBC or anyone else but Krishna and Srila Prabhupada, then
Yeah. You end up with the Hindufied temples, where people come there to gather as families to enjoy themselves, which is wonderful. They chant and they come, they enjoy themselves, they take prasadam. That's all very wonderful. The problem is that there's so much more to it than that you're going to get stuck there. Can you imagine dying in that mentality? You'll come take birth into that mentality again.
Yeah.
So how will you make advancement if you take birth into the mentality that you came to transcend?
Right. Yeah.
By the way, at some point, could I read a few lines of what I wrote to Bobby Hebert?
Sure. Yeah.
But when you're finished discussing this.
Yes. With this, once we're finished. So, Mahaprabhu, you just heard Prabhupada's Vani through his writing. So, what do you think? I'd like to hear what you have to say or any realizations.
I think that Prabhupada is telling us exactly what to do. We must follow what he says. No discrepancies. We do what Prabhupada tells us to do. We don't take it upon ourselves.
That's a start.
Isn't that a good idea?
We don't take it upon ourselves. We do what Prabhupada says.
Yes, that's like being a Catholic and doing what Jesus says instead of what the priest says.
That's right. We chant like Prabhupada chants. We don't deviate.
Or we chant like Jesus chants, but not like how the church chants.
Haribol. Hare Krishna.
But anyhow, I'm just trying to tie it in a positive way.
That's
so
right.
here,
I agree with you. I agree with you.
So here in this first sentence, Srila Prabhupada is saying, advancement of learning, a charitable disposition, political, social, or religious leadership of human society, which ISKCON is to be, religious leadership of human society, philosophical speculation, the practice of yoga system, expertise in Vedic rituals, and all high qualities in men serve one in the attainment of perfection only when they're employed in the service of the Lord.
Which they so Lamar.
Huh?
Which they so Lamar. All of those things become ends and causes in themselves.
I'm not getting your point.
Everybody wants to do those things to perfect doing those things without thinking of the Lord.
Yes. Yeah.
Why would we do otherwise?
Well, if you chant Hare Krishna, you're doing otherwise. Hare Krishna is separated from all sorts of other lists of activities, such as mentioned in this verse.
No, well, you can chant Hare Krishna, and if you have material desires, it's there in the Chaitanya Chaitamrita that eventually these things should go away. But if you cultivate it in the heart, then eventually it's gonna, it's gonna make those material desires fulfilled, and in this way, you don't, you're not,
you'll take another birth to further enjoy.
yeah,
Boosted
basically.
by the fact that you follow regulated principles and you're Kadistadakari, you'll take another birth as a Kadistadakari and maybe be more comfortable than you were in this lifetime.
Yeah.
But not any closer to be surrendered to Krishna. So
Yeah.
I mean, and Kadistadakari is surrendered to Krishna. But he's not going to Krishna Loka, he's just not going to go to hell.
Yes. Then Srila Prabhupada says, without such dovetailing, all such qualities become sources of trouble for people in general. Huh?
Without what?
Without such,
dovetailing?
without such dovetailing, all such qualities become sources of trouble for people in general.
Well, yes, but people would rather take the easy path.
Well, how can the easy path be troublesome? The easy path means that it's liberation, means it's getting you out of this material
Well,
entanglement.
it doesn't necessarily mean that the process is easy. I mean, the easy path is kirtan.
Yes.
Everything else is more complicated and more difficult. No?
Yes, everything else is complicated and difficult, but Srila Prabhupada is saying here, such systems, if dovetailed with Krishna consciousness, it brings attainment of perfection only when they're employed.
Okay. What systems is he talking about?
He's talking about all these things here: charitable disposition, a political and social, religious leadership of human society.
Yeah. So he's talking about a complicated Kanista interactive society.
Well,
Where
not
all these-
necessarily.
where people do all of these things nicely, they will get perfection out of it if they do it nicely. But the process of doing it is also a process of being entangled with family, friends, and society. Right? Where's the easy part? What's the easy part?
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. To do all these things means further involvement in material nature, even though being
Yeah,
employed.
but nice involvement. And
Nice
if you do it
involvement.
perfectly, you'll get spiritual advancement out of it.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
So-
it's material life on the Kanista platform.
Yeah, here Prabhupada is saying, without such dovetailing, all such qualities become sources of trouble for the people in general. So the practice of religious leadership of human society, for example, here, Prabhupada is saying, religious leadership of human society, if it is not service to the Lord, it becomes what? Source of troubles for the people in general. So we can see.
Well, yes. Well, sure. So even religious principles executed without it's sort of like doing a sacrifice and sacrificing something, the Brahman sacrifices something to get you to Indraloka. But if everything is polluted by your attitude, you won't end up in Indraloka.
Yeah. Yes.
You'll stay here and you won't have the money you spent for the best sacrifice.
Haribo, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mohit Prabhu. Yes, go ahead.
So I had a question from the last 1.5 hours, and I was watching through a video on YouTube by Radhanath Swami official YouTube video. He was talking at Google. People are, praising him in his videos, right? Comments, everything. Now, it doesn't affect them, right? If they offend, if they're doing anything else which is against Prabhupada, they're getting their fame, everything, no? So rather than pulling their leg, it's not a point which we can discuss, right? So what should we do here? I mean, people are like pleasing him. They say that you're doing offenses if you don't think he's and officiating Guru and everything.
Now,
And on
people
YouTube,
can go on, you know.
popular.
If you work with Radha Swami, you'll make some spiritual advancement. But is that the way the Prabhupada is prescribed? No.
Absolutely not.
And can Radhanath Swami grant salvation? No.
Hari Bol,
No,
exactly.
he can't grant anything, but he can certainly give you good kirtans and nice prasadam and a good cow program and agricultural programs. These are all wonderful things. But it's not the same thing as pure, unalloyed love of God.
Okay, Mohit Prabhu, was it sufficient what Narayan Prabhu said and Rupa?
So it was sufficient, but my friends have this issue. That's why I asked
What?
here. So yeah,
It's
I
all
mean,
right.
my friends. Hari Bol, am I audible? Hari
You're
Bol.
cutting out. You're cutting out.
Am I audible? Am I audible now?
Yes.
So the friends which I have, right, Prabhu, they listen to his lectures. They're from big companies such as Google, Amazon, Flipkart. So all of they, when they require spiritual knowledge, they see his videos rather than seeing Srila Prabhupada's videos, right? So what I preach them is, I mean, once you chant how accordingly Prabhupada is told, you'll see the transformation. Otherwise, you'll be stuck in that mundane process of coming again and again, and then that won't suffice you. But they say that you should have a physical person to oblige to, right? You should have a physical guru, right? So what is the answer you guys
Physical
have for
guru
that?
means, why not Prabhupada as your physical guru?
Yeah. Physical.
I mean, Prabhu, they are material people. They want someone who's physically present, right? What is the
Well,
answer to
they could get married.
that? Prabhu, I'm just asking a question which I face every day.
The physical
That's
guru,
the answer.
let's not call him a guru. He wants a physical priest.
How about a babysitter?
That too, yeah.
Prabhu.
Huh?
He wants a priest who will tell him answers that he doesn't know the answer to, but cannot take him back to Godhead. The priest cannot take you back to Godhead. He can give you good
I guess
instructions to do. But I mean, if you're working all day long,
I guess the point here is.
huh? If you're
I guess
working
the
all day
point here
long,
is, Prabhu, they want to be cheated.
well, not want to be cheated.
Go ahead.
They want to be comforted. They want somebody like a father to put their arm around, saying, "Yeah, your father cannot take you back to Godhead, but I can." And they put their arm around him and give him a hug. Oh, thank you, Guruji. Here, take $200,000.
But don't you think, Prabhu, it's like Krishna's mercy or Prabhupada's mercy when he gives you a direct Vani medium and you understand this is the real thing? Because these people will never understand, right? Until Krishna is blessing them, right? So rather than correcting them, we should just follow our paths and just move on, right? Just move on
Yeah.
as they are good friends, okay?
So everyone should listen to Prabhupada. It's not very
Right.
good. It's free. You just have a cell phone, you can listen to Prabhupada. No charge.
I guess that blessing, Prabhu, not everyone doesn't get that blessing, I guess. Everyone doesn't understand how Prabhupada wants.
If they tune into Prabhupada Kirtan or lecture, they will get the blessing. What's the difficulty?
No, Mohit Prabhu is saying that not everyone is fortunate to get that realization that I should study only Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada's conversations, hear Prabhupada's kirtans like this.
I understand that. But if you do study Prabhupada's kirtans, I mean, anybody that joined the movement in 1968, 67, and they came in the door, they would say the same thing, exactly the same thing. But when they sat there, they could hear Prabhupada coming in over the loudspeaker, and then they would talk to senior devotees who were so transcendental that they looked like Prabhupada. It's like they had a different brain on top of their brain, and that brain was telling them Krishna conscious things. Then people said, wow, yeah, I want to take part and experience that myself. And that's where the movement came from.
That was
Hare
19.
Krishna. Huh?
Bro, that was 1976, right? So that was like, I mean, he was physically present. If I was there, I would have joined Prabhupada's movement, sacrificed all my life, because that was Prabhupada present there, right? Prabhupada would be guiding you.
No, still you can do that.
Wait. If there's 20 temples, Prabhupada is not personally present.
Yes. Yes.
He's only present in one temple,
Right.
not 20. Right?
Yeah.
What's the point, bro?
You have to see that the process is as good as Prabhupada.
That's-
Taste
yeah.
the same. It has the same taste as Prabhupada. Unfortunately, the GBC turned the taste away from Prabhupada.
Yes, they created a distraction. Yes, if you.
You have to have a guy that sits there and sweats and farts to tell you about God.
and so that's
You say,
exactly-
well, wait a minute, I'm supposed to have a living guru. How will I know if this guru that you put me towards is a living guru? Just wait. He sweats, he farts, he's living.
No, Mohit Prabhu was saying, Narayan Prabhu, Mohit Prabhu was saying that, oh, in 1967, 68, 69, Prabhupada was present. There was nothing else there. So
No,
everyone.
He wasn't present in 20 temples.
No,
He was
no, that,
present in-
yes. Yeah.
Meaning with
Yo-
general
yo-
present.
But Prabhu, his instructions were followed, right? Whatever he said was followed strictly by devotees, right? Strictly by devotees. Right? Just before.
1975, Prabhupada was personally present, but everyone was fighting him.
Hmm.
That was the last years, right, Prabhu? Last 1 or 2 years when Prabhupada was fighting against him.
70 he died. Probably 75 or 6, they started poisoning him. But the point is, it's not that Prabhupada is personally present, it's that people surrender to Prabhupada when he's personally present. The GBC engineered so that no one would surrender to Prabhupada. They wanted everyone to surrender to the GBC.
Acha.
Even Prabhupada is personally there, he's kept in a corner. Now, this is a big fight we have, a magic fight, a massive fight, a stupendously wonderful fight. We are restoring Prabhupada to the center where he was when he was in the center, but you can't do it physically because his physical body will not be there, but his sound will be there, which is more Prabhupada than his body. Does that make sense? What is more Prabhupada, his body or his sound?
His sound, Vani.
Yeah. So therefore, that which everybody was dreaming of having is present in his sound. So we need his sound, which is completely practically forbidden in ISKCON. Why?
So, Prabhu,
because the gurus want their sound
Yeah.
to be.
Exactly. That's the point I want to clarify, right? For online viewers seeing this, guys, this is coming from Narayan Prabhu. He said this openly. They want their sound to be preached, not what Prabhupada wanted, right?
Right.
That's the point. Yeah.
And the air is so polluted that if something is polluted, it's hard to get everyone to relax again, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
So,
Very difficult.
When I came into the temple, everybody looked like they had a magical spiritual brain on top of their brain. They were talking to me. These are people that I knew for years. I could hardly recognize them. They had transformed by the energy that they were channeling and carrying Prabhupada's message forward so that I would hear it. And next thing you know, I wanted to be one of those. I wanted to join the same thing and have a Prabhupada brain on top. So I joined. And that's how it happened. I became a devotee because somebody with a transcendental Prabhupada brain on their brain convinced me to surrender to Prabhupada.
Jai.
Very cool. Jai.
Yeah.
One last question,
Oh, wait.
Prabhu.
Go ahead. Yes,
Yeah.
Mohit.
Go ahead. Prabhu was saying something. I don't want to interrupt him. Go ahead, Prabhu. You
Oh.
were saying something.
Okay, just let me know when I should start reading this thing.
Just one last question, Prabhu. Sorry to interrupt you again.
Yes. No, of course.
Prabhu, the ISKCON, I mean, ISKCON Vrindavan, right? What the kirtan is going on, right? When people, I mean, the singing people are from Bhakti Vedanta Academy, right? People from the what do we call it? Gurukulas. They are given in charge to lead the kirtans, Prabhu, and the kirtans which are going on right now in ISKCON Vrindavan. What is your view on that? I mean, do you identify it as what Prabhupada wanted those
Yeah, I'm
kirtans to
glad
be,
they
or
are.
it's
I am glad they are chanting, but why are they not chanting Krishna local melodies that Prabhupada brought?
okay?
Why are they chanting some cultural melody? Why are they chanting some rock and roll melody? They should be chanting as Prabhupada chanted, for the simple reason he's the spiritual master. Whatever this, I'm bringing this up as though it's a strange thought, but the spiritual master is meant to be followed with kirtan, with energy, with everything. Why should people think the spiritual master means do your own thing? Only
Yes,
the
Prabhu,
GBC
because
up with that.
I've seen this from the last I mean 1 week when I'm going there, the tunes which are being played, I mean it's not what Prabhupada has sanctioned. I
What?
don't have the authority to say it, but yeah, I felt it,
But
Prabhu.
Mohit,
Sometimes
can you imagine what it would be like if everybody there were totally immersed in Prabhupada kirtan?
that would be superb, Prabhu. That's a transcendental pleasure, right, Prabhu? When I
Yeah, so
hear his
why?
kirtans, that's like superb,
But
hitting my
they don't
heart.
want to do
directly.
that. They want to do their own thing.
Why is this, Prabhu? Because Prabhupada is very powerful, Prabhu. His kirtans, I mean, it stucks in your heart, right? You can't.
Because
I mean,
they're trying to.
you can't run anywhere once you hear Prabhupada kirtan, right? That's for sure.
Yeah. So they want to become better than Prabhupada by not chanting Prabhupada.
But
They're
I'm not
thinking,
getting this
if I-
point, Prabhu.
if
How
I
would they
chant-
get?
How?
But I'm not getting this point, Prabhu. How would they get transcendental pleasure, right? How would they get that spiritual advancement? How is that pleasure coming? I mean, it's not
Are you
possible,
saying
right, without Prabhupada.
Are you saying that? Are you saying the pleasure is coming?
So I'm asking you, how is that pleasure coming? I mean, how are people
Okay.
being
If a
staying
person
there?
is standing in front of the deity and chanting and surrendering in their emotion, then they're going to get pleasure from surrendering to the deity. If in the meantime they're chanting some nonsense song, melody, well, then the pleasure is less, not eliminated, it's just less.
Oh, you want to say this, that pleasure is less, but it's there, right?
Yeah, of course, because the deity is Krishna.
That I know, bro, but
It's up
I
to,
mean,
it's up to the devotees to surrender. Krishna cannot make you surrender.
if
You know what?
it's
He doesn't want to make you surrender. If Krishna
if it's
made you
these,
surrender,
yeah,
everyone would
bro.
think, oh boy, what if Krishna made me surrender? That'd be so wonderful. No, if
If these
Krishna made you
yeah,
surrender, he would be a tyrant. You wouldn't want to worship him. It's all done in free will. The love of Krishna is all free will.
So I think, bro, if these tunes are changed, right, that would be great for other people coming out. I mean, people, those who are like new ones, it would stuck their heart and they'll start reading automatically. You won't force them to read Prabhupada books. They would go online and read it because this is how I got influenced and this is how Prabhupada, I mean, guided me, right? If
Yes,
they start just Prabhupada Kirtans, just a simple thing, leave everything, Prabhu. Whatever GVC wants to do, it's their point of
exactly.
view. But just Prabhupada Kirtans are like so powerful that it can change a person.
Exactly. But
Smoking, it can change him, right?
people would rather keep their cultural identity with their family style song than chant like Prabhupada, which is the family in Krishna Loka. They want
Exactly.
they want their earthly family, can't give it up, so they chant in such a way that their earthly family is invoked. But if you chant Hare Krishna with Prabhupada, you give up your earthly family and you begin to see there's another family and it's in Krishna Loka. So everyone will get to Krishna Loka. It's just a question, how much garbage are they going to have to go through to get there?
Acha. So, Prabhu, you want to say this, that this
So I'm saying the temple should only have Prabhupada Kirtan, and that way, when that's true, then people will be blissful immediately.
Hari
And they
Bol,
don't have to
Jai.
go through a whole dragged out thing with family style melodies from 1850 or something of that sort, you know?
Got it, Prabhu. Hari Bol, Jai.
Right. Bob?
Ronald, Prabhu,
Ramachandra?
go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, Bolo.
Okay. Should
Are
I
you
read
ready?
that or are we doing something else?
We're done for this conversation. 1 second.